Ladies and gentlemen, for one last time in the regular season of Season 5 of the Canadian eMotorsports Network NASCAR Series, powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue, we go Green Flag Racing. It's another live production of Canadian eMotorsports Network action on iRacing for the first time. Yet again, another first time at a track we've never been to before in the network's history. First time on iRacing too. No better way of doing it than on the iRacing platform. Welcome to round 15 of 22. It is the first annual Dulux of London 200 at the Rockingham Speedway in Rockingham, North Carolina. And it's also our annual throwback race, so you get to see some incredible vintage liveries presented by the cars and stars of the Canadian eMotorsports Network NASCAR Series. And now, considering we are throwing it back here tonight, there's a couple little, we have a little bit of a limited ticker going on right here, so we'll be it's pretty much going back to the old days where we just go straight to a visual broadcast booth, which is exactly what we're going to do right now.
Oh, man. Okay, I got you.
We kind of swap roles to an extent, but you did mention on your side that, I mean, it kind of makes sense where you're at right now, because quite frankly, you're back in the place where you used to do all the broadcasts from season 1 to season 3.
At least the same province, yes, not the same building, obviously, but yes, same province. So that in and of itself is my form of a throwback for this evening.
Absolutely, but yes, here on the call, once again for the third season in a row, or second season in a row in terms of these positions, of course. The voice you're hearing right now from Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island, it is Regan McCauley, your play-by-play guy. On the other side, he's been here since the very beginning. It should not say Alberta, Canada on the graphic, but we'll completely forget about that. It'll definitely go back to normal within a couple weeks, I imagine. But back on Prince Edward Island for couple weeks, is that accurate?
Yeah, so like obviously we've got next week off, and then the first playoff race I'll still be here, and then I'll be back.
Yeah, so that is Jordy Caraher over there. Once again, has been here since the very beginning. But before we get into all the action that is anticipated here tonight at the vintage Rockingham Speedway, we must go back in time to last week's race, which might have been one of the most dramatic that we've ever seen in the history of the Canadian eMotorsports Network NASCAR Series, powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue. The number 1 Tornado Alley E-Racing Toyota, sponsored by Nordic Aluminum. C.D. Mangrum goes to victory lane for the second time in Season 5 at Indianapolis in the Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue 200 on Tuesday, June 18th. And, I mean, just for how dramatic and wild that race was, I think this image pretty much speaks for itself.
And, I mean, you see, the cars that were very close behind Mangrum, very close to, again, we've talked about it for a couple of weeks now, upsetting the apple cart in terms of the overall playoff race. Of course, Mangrum had his victory locked in a few weeks ago, adds to it last week. But if that was the appetizer for tonight, let's go.
Indeed so, as we now go back to the results of last week's event, which I should probably take my sunglasses off. I cannot see a damn thing.
Yeah, that's a thing. Unless they're prescription, I would not advise.
That's much better. I might challenge myself to see how long I can actually handle myself in this jacket, especially in this weather, the climate that we have here on Prince Edward Island. But anyways, going back to last week's results, of course, C.D. Mangrum getting the job done in round 14 of 22 on June 18th. After qualifying fourth, and of course, only led 3 of the 81 laps that were conducted that night. But again, it was the laps that mattered the most there at the very end, and what was a wicked battle with Corbin McCauley and Jordan Kalinian for the win. Kind of maybe a little bit of shades of what we saw back in the Indy 250 in 2023 when we saw Dylan Baum, Andy Hurdle going at Darcy Ford swooping in to steal the win in the final corner. So again, 2 years in a row, we get dramatic finishes on the oval layout at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Mason Tomlinson and Trevor Bin sneaking onto the podium. Tomlinson was able to avoid getting into the wreck. Bins still got involved in that big final crash that you still see the image there on the top right of the screen, yet he's still just barely squeezed ahead of a bunch of other cars for that third position. And for Tomlinson and Bins too, especially knowing that that they are currently in must-win situations with one race remaining until we begin the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs, that momentum could seriously do wonders, even though, yes, again, only one race left. They pretty much need to win. But still, that momentum could seriously help, knowing how even more dramatic tonight could be.
Yeah, I mean, the golden chance to take care of business. A few more meters last week, and maybe Tomlinson or Bins, again, completely hijacks the playoff conversation. But yeah, unquestionably a must-win for those two. But, good to see a couple of new faces getting into that mix toward the head of the field, maybe a little bit later in the regular season than they would have liked. Obviously, there's been some bad luck along the way, but again, it just highlights the overall depth of field that we've got in the network that we're even talking about this.
And again, too, we've mentioned many times in the past couple of weeks, going down from 16 to 12 drivers in the playoffs. We could definitely be talking about guys like Tomlinson and Bins, for those final couple spots, but no, sir, it's only 12 drivers, and we'll get to that eventually where everything stands in the standings. Jose Mercado and Andy Hurdle rounding out the top 5. Andy Hurdle scoring a stage win barely on fuel. He ran out right after that green checkered flag. Justin Belmonte, Bryce Fontaine, Adam Wilson inside the top 10. Kalini and McCauley barely staying inside the top 10 despite getting involved in that wild crash on the front straightaway. McCauley winning stage 1. Then you see Jason Heaney, Tom Janikowski, Kyle Knoll just outside the top 10, and there were a couple of DNFs towards the back there. Charlie Sears with absolute heartbreak again, and a late incident that one of the late crashes that would end up leading to the overtime restart to solve the ending of the Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue 200 at Indy. Jason Butler, William Kern, a couple other guys that had a couple misfortunes in there, of course. But now looking at the driver standings, which, again, friendly reminder that the graphic that we release every single week goes in order of drivers that have wins and then are locked into the playoffs because of that. And then we go off of drivers that are in above the cut line on points. Darcy Ford and Jose Mercado have yet to win this season, but they have officially locked themselves into the playoffs on points. So they have literally nothing to worry about tonight other than maybe trying to gain a couple extra playoff points. Doesn't hurt to do that. Stage points in there as well. So Mike Marini and Kyle Knoll are right on the bubble, even though they are plus 33 and plus 30. Again, it's pretty much as long as they start tonight and they pretty much get to the checkered flag and no one below the cut line wins, they're pretty much in. It's going to have to take a complete catastrophe for something to happen to not have those two make it.
Yeah, the 15 and 12, they will be keeping very close tabs on one another, you would have to think, because if something does happen outside the top 12, there's only 3 points separating those two. So yes, the picture could change very, very quickly if we get someone who's currently below the cut line who steals the win tonight. And I think you were going to allude to it in a little bit, but I'll take this from you. All we've heard about Rockingham is crazy, crazy, crazy. So anything could happen.
Yeah, craziness. There's a bunch of different words that have been described about what we could anticipate here tonight at The Rock. But yeah, again, below the cut line, Jason Heaney, Justin Belmonte likely need to win here tonight. Likely probably isn't even the correct word in there, but
no, they do.
Yeah, Jason Heaney and Justin Belmonte are both guys that have kind of had some recent momentum. Justin Belmonte, unfortunately, had a couple weeks in a row where he was absent, so that definitely hurt his chances. And again, too, for a guy that was one of the top contenders in the series back in his first year with the series back in season 4, just been very unfortunate circumstances for him. Jason Heaney's been very up and down, but he has proven that he can run up front. It's just a matter of, again, the competition. You see the guys in front of him, it's just absolutely crazy. Again, only 12 spots for the playoffs. That certainly matters in there as well. And now Rockingham being the final race of the regular season, it's going to be a tall order for him and many of the rest of the drivers that are currently outside the playoffs. Of course, there still is the best of the rest challenge that we will put on during the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs, just so that the drivers that do not make the playoffs still have something to fight for, just to kind of keep the races interesting and exciting as the rest of Season 5 goes on. And then just very quickly going on into the quote-unquote rookie point standings. Again, that word is very... what's the term that you've said, Jordy? I think there's one.
Well, it's very loosely used, I guess, would be the best way. Like, we definitely tend to go toward first year, but again, precedent set to what it was called before. So technically it's, I mean, the Americans out there will have a very different definition for rhino, but rookie in name only in our case. Let's not get too political otherwise.
But yeah, I mean, we're just kind of going off of how we've done it every year, of course. Jordan Kalanian is pretty much in a completely different world compared to everybody else. Adam Wilson almost 100 points behind him at this point. It's pretty much Kalanian. It's pretty much him. But again, though, we still got 7 races left after tonight. Things could definitely shape out. I mean, especially with the chaos of the playoffs, Adam Wilson could still very well catch up in unbelievable fashion. And then from there, Charlie Sears, Jason Heaney are going to go at it for that 3rd spot, the final spot on the first year season end podium. Rhino Tool, Mark Roulette had a random swap back there for 7th and 8th. Of course, Tomlinson and Binns, as we mentioned, getting their first career podium finishes at Indianapolis. So, again, you see the top 3 in those standings there, the 3 drivers there in that group that are currently locked into the playoffs with wins. Jason Heaney, Trevor Binns, Mason Tomlinson, they still have yet to win, but the momentum, especially for the 4 and the 33, watch out, because tonight, anything is possible at Rockingham. But now that we move on from the Brickyard in Indianapolis, Indiana, we move on to the Ruck in Rockingham, North Carolina, where we take a quick look here at the schedule. Man, oh man, it's hard to believe how far we've come, Jordy. One last race here in the regular season, going to be down to 15 races, and then after tonight, of course, there will be an off week during, right after Canada Day weekend that's coming up. So drivers will be able to prepare themselves for the Lady in Black.
Yeah, we didn't exactly make it an easy start here in the playoffs, did we?
Nope.
Just,
it's not even, you could argue, it's not an easy way to start the regular season or end the regular season. Like, you started off at Daytona, or technically everybody started back at Atlanta for that little practice race, the Clash that we did, and even that resulted in some chaos. And now we're doing Rockingham to kind of finish things off and get a bit of a preview of what's to come between July and August.
Yeah, I mean, tonight we've literally got no playbook or no precedent for how this is going to go. And I mean, we've been talking about pretty much everything after Charlotte. It's just been, a variety over the last 6 weeks. And again, the path doesn't get any easier from here. You just got to be a complete driver all the way through. And those who have been rewarded for it.
Absolutely. And now one more thing to get back to with the driver standings. I'm surprised I actually forgot about this. If you do look at the points there that are still tallied beside wins with some of those guys up there,
still something to fight for.
Well, actually, yeah, now that I think about it, it's actually in order of the wins anyways, but I'll just say it anyways through verbal words. We have a hell of a battle going on for the regular season championship with CD Magram at +4 over Corbin McCauley and +15 over Jordan Kalanian. So we have 3 drivers that could possibly come out of tonight as the regular season champion.
Yeah, I mean, verbal words as opposed to what other kind of words first. But yeah, there's no other words to describe the intensity of that battle. Because like I said, there's still very much something to fight for there, because again, we'll get into it over the course of the evening. Those regular season bonuses, those could be huge down the line, especially when you're looking at round of 8 and potential championship 4 spots. So this is going to kind of set the table for what the playoffs could look like.
Indeed so. And now we once again move on from last week's action. Now to the Rock here. Rockingham Speedway in Rockingham, North Carolina for the first annual Dulux of London 200. So, Rockingham Speedway entering its first year of operation in the Canadian eMotorsports Network and the NASCAR Series. 1.017 miles, 1.6 kilometers, a D-shaped oval in Rockingham, North Carolina, nicknamed The Rock. Opened in 1965 as North Carolina Motor Speedway, and then eventually to North Carolina Speedway, if I recall correctly. Hosted national-level NASCAR racing from 1966 to 2013. Was taken off the schedule due to financial problems, and it's remained off NASCAR schedules ever since. There are rumors that it could return to the schedule in maybe a couple of years, which would be absolutely fantastic. I mean, the nostalgic fans certainly want to see this vintage track come back onto the NASCAR calendar. But as we were talking about earlier, drivers are anticipating absolute shenanigans here tonight to conclude the regular season. Extremely loose track, extremely loose setup. There's barely any grip anywhere. I was talking to some drivers behind the scenes before tonight's event. There's no drivers that are going to want to be on that inside line, inside lane, right along the line, because cars could easily slide up in the corners. Middle to high line-ish is preferred because you'll have better speed coming off of there. But even there's no grip anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much put up or shut up time now, isn't it? Just couple hundred, very intense, but have to be very technical here. A couple hundred miles to, potential playoff immortality. Reeks, I am ready to figure out who's going to be the cock of the rock here tonight.
Absolutely. And now, as a matter of fact, before I get into here, we are going to do a special edition of introducing the starting lineup for tonight's event, where because we are using a throwback ticker here tonight, and also a personal decision of mine that everybody agreed upon, we're going to go in order from the back to the front to introduce the lineup for the Dulux of London 200. So before we get into that, might as well very quickly fix something in here just so that get a bit of a better close-up angle, and might as well do this instead of, with the cars rolling, you don't really get that good angle of all the throwback schemes, but there's a certain camera that I have been given that will allow us to see these schemes up close and personal. We have to acknowledge some of these vintage liveries, that man, oh man, Jordy, the ones that we've seen revealed on the Canadian eMotorsports Network social media pages recently. Holy moly, these drivers have some absolutely talented design skills.
Yeah, I love it. And again, we talked a little bit about it post-race last week. I love that the guys have embraced the creativity of it. And ultimately, that's another perk of having moved to iRacing, is being able to fully embrace that. Because really, on the Trading Paints platform, not a whole lot in the way of limits there. So yeah, great to see these guys kind of flex their creative genes here, so to speak.
So, we have 22 cars here that are going to go for glory here at Rockingham Speedway. So, for the starting lineup for tonight's event, we will begin at the back of the 22 car field and go right up to the front. And we're starting off with the driver of the number 77 Ford from St. Catharines, Ontario, driving for GTR. Driving the Merrittville Speedway Dirt Modified, driven by his uncle who passed away earlier this year. So Hunter Young is continuing the family tradition. Please welcome the number 77 of Hunter Young. He starts 22nd. And then in 21st, we have the number 97 Tornado IE Racing Toyota from Kansas City, Missouri. He's running the Charlotte Chariot to Toyota. Sorry?
Chariot, maybe?
Chariot Toyota, something like that. Flown by Kerry Salter. I say flown because this is a throwback to what was originally a World War II P-51 Mustang fighter plane, which was then repainted to Charlotte's Chariot 2 in 2010. Please welcome the number 97 of Ty Higginbottom. And now in 20th, where we have the number 16 from Portland, Oregon, the number 16 Chevrolet, who is throwing it back to Jeff Gordon's 1993 and 2000 DuPont Rainbow Chevrolet, the 4-time Cup Series champion, 3-time Daytona 500 winner, has won a bunch of Brickyard 400s, Southern 500s, Coca-Cola 600s. It's the number 16 of Ryan O'Toole. And then alongside him, where we have the number 4 Chevrolet from Eudora, Kansas, who is honoring the Intimidator, Dale Earnhardt, the 1988 to 2001 GM Goodwrench Chevrolet, 7-time Cup Series champion, 4-time IROC champion, 76-time Cup Series race winner, 1998 Daytona 500 winner. Please welcome Mason Tomlinson.
All right, and tonight, given the circumstances, it feels like it's going to be absolute cinema here, so it fits that we've got a movie scheme here in the form of the number 93 of Tom Janikowski starting in 18th. This is an homage to the 1998 Havoline driven by Kenny Irwin Jr. in the UAW GM 500 at Charlotte to promote the movie Batman and the Joker. Rather fittingly, he did beat Dale Jarrett's Batman car that particular day. However, unfortunately, of course, Irwin Jr. passed in 2000 in a practice crash at New Hampshire, once again starting in 18th, the number 93 of Tom Janikowski, as we move on to the number 10 driven by Jason Butler. This is an homage to the 2014 GoDaddy Chevy, driven, of course, by Danica Patrick, the 2013 Daytona 500 pole sitter, starting in 17th. Yeah, the number 10 519E Racing Chevy of Jason Butler out of London, Ontario. And we continue on. We stay in Ontario for this particular scheme. Just let me move down the page a little bit. It's the 2006 Dodge Charger driven by Casey Kane, of course, 18-time Cup race winner and Rookie of the Year way back in 2004. Driven tonight by the man starting in, if I got my math right, 16th place, the number 80 Coupa Z Racing of Mark Ouellette. That's Toyota. And on his inside, we have a Bill Elliott homage. I don't think that's going to be the first or last homage to an Elliott we're going to see tonight. Tonight, rather fittingly, it's the number 9 from 1984 to 1990, the Coors Light livery. Of course, Bill Elliott, the 88 Cup Series champ, 2-time Daytona 500 winner, 3-time Southern 500 winner, 4-time pole sitter at Daytona, as well as everything's just gone Ghostbusters. That's not quite the movie I thought. Anyway, starting in 15th place, another Coupa Z Racing outfit. This is Jason Heaney.
So we've been told to do a little bit of a refresh here because apparently some schemes have been updated at the last minute. Apparently one of them is still not showing correctly, but anyways, I think everybody has been so far so good. But now moving up to the 14th position, where we have the number 12 driver from Thunder Bay, Ontario, where he is driving in homage to a 1974 AMC Matador driven by Bobby Allison, the 1983 NASCAR Cup Series champion, 3-time Daytona 500 winner, 7-time Cup Series most popular driver. Please welcome Mike Marini. And then alongside him in the 13th position, it appears there still seems to be some sort of a scheme issue going on with him, but he does indeed have something that he did make up for tonight's event, so hopefully we might be able to maybe see it later on if another refresh does work. But this is the driver of the number 22 Bryce Engine Motorsports Chevrolet out of Laverne, Tennessee. He is supposed to be driving a 2005 Miller Lite Dodge driven by Rusty Wallace, 1989 NASCAR Cup Series champion, 1990 Coca-Cola 600 winner, 1991 IROC champion. Please welcome Bryce Fontaine. In the 12th position, where we have the driver in the number 13 Chevrolet out of Eudora, Kansas, driving a scheme in homage to Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s 1998 and 1999 NASCAR Busch Series winning AC Delco Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Of course, Jr., a 2-time Xfinity Series champion, 13-time race winner between both of those years, 2-time Daytona 500 winner, 15-time NASCAR Cup Series most popular driver. It is the number 13 of Jared Ireland. Oh, yeah, I'm still going here. Yeah, the number the number 15 Storm Surge Esports Toyota from Wendell, North Carolina, driving a scheme in homage to Joe Nemechek, a 1997 to 1999 Bell South Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Nemechek was a 1992 Xfinity Series champion, 4-time NASCAR Cup Series race winner, 16-time Xfinity Series race winner, the number 15 of Kyle Knoll.
And we're about to get down and dirty here at Rockingham in a few minutes, but you know what? Let's clean up with some Tide after that, as we're paying homage to 95 Cup Series Rookie of the Year, Ricky Craven, in his 2001 to 2003 Tide Chevrolet, fittingly driven tonight by the number 32 of Charlie Sears out of Charlottesville, Virginia. Sears, he's at the back end of the top 10 here tonight. He will start in 10th. And you want to talk in the network history among the best drivers to never win the title? Jose Mercado's in that category, and he's honoring one of the best in that category on the NASCAR side too. Of course, that is the legendary Mark Martin Valvoline Ford scheme. Of course, 40 Cup wins there, 5 times an IROC champ as well. Tonight, Mercado starts 9th. And we move up to row 4, and oh boy, I was talking about the cinema homages earlier. We are right back to the silver screen here with the 1990. There he is again. He was going Ghostbusters there for a second, but now he's back in the 1990 Days of Thunder Superflow Motor Oil Chevy Lumina, driven, of course, by Cole Trickle, who won the 1990 Daytona 500 in that very movie. Tonight, it's in the hands of the number 64 519 E-Racing Chevy of Darcy Ford at Harrington, PEI. He'll start this one in 8th. And on his inside, oh boy, this is a guy who needs to get something done here tonight. And, okay, one of the guys I think we said did not have a throwback scheme. Anyway, starting in 7th, this is the number 6 of Justin Belmonte. And, yeah, he's the guy that's got to get something done here tonight. Look for him to jump early.
I think if I were to speculate correctly, this might have been the scheme Brad Keselowski won at the recent Darlington race in real life. I think.
I was going to say, it looked familiar. I just don't have it in my document.
So yeah, one of those cars that unfortunately we didn't get to just yet, but I might as well wrap up the rest of the grid here, getting into the top 6. So, starting in the 6th position, driving the number 33 Mountain Dew Toyota for Koopa's Racing from Winter Haven, Florida, driving a paint scheme in homage to Harry Gant, a 1981 to 1994 Skull Bandit car. Gant was a 1985 IROC champion, 2-time Southern 500 winner, 18-time NASCAR Cup Series race winner, also nicknamed Mr. September for being absolutely dominant in the month of September 1991. It is the number 33 of Trevor Binns. Alongside him, looks as though there is not a throwback livery on this car here tonight, so we'll introduce him as normal. It is the number 0 Toyota from Salisbury, North Carolina. Please welcome Jordan Kalinian. And now moving on here to the front 2 rows, where we start off with a driver paying homage to a couple Formula One stars back in the day, driving the number 7 Labatt and Camden Chevrolet out of Daytona, Ohio for 519E Racing. It's the 1991 Williams FW14 driven by Nigel Mansell. Is that how you say it?
Nigel Mansell, yep.
Yeah. And Ricardo Patrese, something like that. Patrese. Mansell was a 1992 Formula One champion, and Ricardo was a 6-time Formula One race winner. This is the number 7 of Andy Hurdle. Alongside him in the number 21 Toyota for Tornado Alley Racing out of Laurel, Delaware, driving a livery in homage to Joe Leonard, who won the Indianapolis 500 pole in 1968 with this very car. Also a 2-time champion USAC, which is now IndyCar. 6-time race winner in the series as well. This is the number 21 of Adam Wilson. And now finally to the front row here, where we have a couple familiar names that we saw battling for the win at the Brickyard last week. Starting off with the driver in the number 1 Toyota for Tornado Alley E-Racing out of Atlanta, Georgia, driving a car that may be familiar to some people, vintage fans here at Rockingham Speedway from about a decade or many decades ago here at the real life Rockingham Speedway. Bill Elliott's 2001 to 2003 Dodge Intrepid. This was the scheme that he won his final career Cup Series. He got his final career Cup Series win at Rockingham in 2003. It's the number 1 of C.D. Megram. And now starting on top, on the pole, once again, driving, you see the name on the car, it's the name that's represented on our championship trophy. I mean, I guess no better driver than to be on the front here. No, more ironic here. Driving the number 17 Bulger Motorsports Chevrolet out of Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. This is Earl Ross's number 52 car. He won the 1974 Old Dominion 500 at Martinsville, one of 6 non-American NASCAR Cup Series winners, the only Canadian to ever win a Cup Series, and the only driver from Prince Edward Island to ever win a NASCAR Cup Series race. Starting on pole for the first annual Dulux of London 200, it's the number 17 of Corbin McCauley. And there you have it.
I was going to say, I wasn't sure if I was supposed to jump in after that or not, but man, oh man, I love the, I love the Earl Ross one especially.
You gotta love all of them, honestly.
For sure you do. Some beauties here. We'll see if we got some throwback racing in store, especially with so much at stake.
Absolutely. So the drivers fired up the engines there right off the bat. They didn't need to have me come in and fire them off, of course.
And it'll be interesting to see how they get off the line. Of course, McCauley's had some success in the short tracks in the past as well. Of course, I believe his maiden victory was at Richmond in season 1. It was either Richmond or Watkins Glen. I know Richmond was very much in there. I can't remember which came first. Either way, there's success. And a Martinsville win in the past as well.
How about this? We almost already have 20 viewers here for the broadcast on our YouTube channel for this first annual Dulux of London 200. Man, oh man, you guys are in for a treat, especially with some absolutely fantastic paint schemes represented and driven by the cars and stars of the Canadian eMotorsports Network NASCAR Series, powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue. Pace car lights are going to go off. We're going to roll them around one more time, and 22 of these drivers are going to go green for one last time here in the regular season of Season 5, Round 15 of 22. We've come this far. Let's try and end off the regular season on a high note. Hopefully not high as in cars getting high in the air for how dramatic tonight could be.
Yes, yes. And, I mean, again, a lot at stake. We talked about it in the pre-race. The heat's about to get turned way up here.
Indeed so. Again, 22 of the superstars of the NASCAR Series are going to go at it here at the virtual Rockingham Speedway for the first time in network history through 3 and 4. The iRacing official pace car eventually going to roll off one last time in the regular season of Season 5. It's time for the first annual Dulux of London 200. Green flag in the air.
All right, boys, no need to waste any time here. Leave her all out there, and it looks like McCauley's doing just that.
And already potential trouble, Adam Wilson?
Jump start, perhaps? I was going to say, I noticed there was a car missing. I couldn't quite pick out who it was.
There must have been an issue there on the star for the 21 of Adam Wilson, but we are green here at the virtual Rockingham Speedway. As already potential trouble back here, Jason Butler looks like his front end was caved in. Tom Janikowski falling back a couple spots. But meanwhile up front, Corbin McCauley in the lead by about 3/10 or so ahead of Jordan Kalinian. A friendly reminder that with this ticker that you see at the top of the screen, that the positions get locked every single time at the start-finish line. It's not like it immediately gets updated and updated and updated. I don't know how else better to say that, but that's the best I can say it.
Okay, yeah, that's actually something I wasn't aware of either. That's good to know. And while we're talking about positioning, we should probably, again, throwback nature, should probably address the stages or quote-unquote lack thereof.
Indeed so. So the stages for tonight's event are laps 49, 49, and 98. But because this is the annual throwback race, we're doing a tradition here within the Canadian eMotorsports Network NASCAR Series. Stages are still gone. We still have stages. Stage points will still be tallied, but there will be no stage cautions.
Yeah, so again, in my case, I'll be trying to do my best with real life math here. Is I know the math's telling me some guys are getting close here on the track already, but yeah, obviously still a lot to fight for. I think it's going to be more watching track positioning tonight as much as, you know, just how close those gaps are, but we'll see how everything shakes out here. Still very early on.
Ooh, Charlie Sears with a slide right there on Jared Ireland. That causes the 32 to fall back, so Ireland goes to 11th. Heaney is now 12th. Sears in 13th. Higginbottom is going to look to catch up right there. He's in 14th. Corbin McCauley still with... Sorry?
I was going to say that's a great start from Higginbotham, because remember, he was on the back row, and he's already made up 7 places.
About something like that. He was towards the back. So, again, we did see a little bit of issues there with the 93 and the 60, maybe even the 10 there as well. You see that front end in the middle is just barely caved in. But McCauley with about a half a second or so lead here over the number 0. Has potential trouble there for Mason Tomlinson. He blinked out just for a second, but he is back on and going again, straight on 4 wheels, side by side with Mike Marini for the 15th position. And to the outside wall.
Yeah. Tomlinson, yeah, he's got to get that car right quickly here if, again, he wants to have any hope of, you know, backdooring his way into the playoff picture. But getting back to the head of the field, I just remembered this, like if we're talking about Jordan Kalinian specifically, we talked about, yeah, it doesn't look like he's got a throwback. He was actually supposed to. I believe he was supposed to be running a 00 belonging to David Rudiman from back in the day. Just, I don't know if the scheme just didn't load, but I do remember seeing that earlier today. Just didn't quite make it in here for Kalinian tonight. So not for lack of trying to embrace the throwback efforts here tonight.
Indeed, so is now here on lap 11 of 196. Laps are flying by. This is Trevor Binns ahead of Darcy Ford for the 6th position. Harry Gant versus Cole Trickle coming off of turn 2.
I mean, back in the 90s, I always laughed at the real-life Trickle that came up, but I will do my best to keep it mature. I will do my very best.
Yeah, very, 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 very certain Trickle.
Yes, Richard.
Sure.
We'll go with that.
Just randomly coming up with names there on the spot. But almost a second or so now separating the 17 and the 0. Now side by side for the 6th position, the 64 and the 33. Now on lap 13.
Yeah,
as you mentioned earlier, Ghostbusters on the grid and in the race.
So that wasn't just me that saw that then. Okay, yeah. Ford? Yeah, what's happening here? Again, might have been the wrong movie homage, but we'll see.
Jared Ireland and Kyle Knoll going at it for the 8th position through down the front stretch into turns 1 and 2. 13 is going to clear the way. Dale Jr. ahead of Joe Nemechek.
Yeah, that would have happened as their careers crossed over in the early 2000s, a fair time or two. Late 90s, perhaps.
So Adam Wilson is back in this one, still somehow there on the lead lap, but 18 seconds back of McCauley for the race lead. Here's Ryan O'Toole and Jason Butler going at it towards the back of the field. Jeff Gordon versus Danica Patrick.
I was going to say, lots of interesting, I mean, obviously there were battles that did happen in real life, but lots of theoreticals given the schemes as well, if we compare eras and stuff like that too.
Ooh, I think the 22 of Bryce Fontaine might have brushed the wall or had a very close call there on the high side. Jason Butler continuing to fall back. He's now in 22nd behind Adam Wilson. Might get some potential lap traffic here for the 17.
Yeah, and I mean, when you're doing laps that are, right around or below 20 seconds, it's not going to take long to hit that particular threshold. So, yeah, we'll see how our leaders navigate this one.
Seems to be decent separation between most drivers here. Not a whole lot of chaos to start off, but again, too, knowing that this race doesn't have, the mandatory stage cautions, if we don't have anything incident-related, then this race is certainly going to be all about strategy. And speaking of that as well, the fuel window is projected to be maybe 43 to 46 laps-ish. And stage 1 is going to be 49 laps, so cars will definitely be coming in just before we get to the end of the first stage. And again, as a friendly reminder, 49, 49, and 98.
Unless, maybe it's saved for stage 2, but maybe someone tries the hurdle the turtle stretch toward the end of stage 2 if they want to try and make up some positions. I mean, short track might be able to get away with it.
So I believe that was Hunter Young getting past Mark Ouellette there. Dirt Modified getting past the Casey Kane car.
I was going to say, it's not always the easiest to keep track of all these. And I mean, it's amazing to see all of, again, the creativity that we've got in the field here tonight as well.
Looks like Ty Higginbottom just got past Charlie Sears for the 13th position.
And again, in the spirit of Tide, that pass was done very cleanly.
For 11th, Bryce Fontaine versus Jason Heaney. The 22 is going to take it away.
Yeah, still early yet. Again, Heaney comes into tonight 13th, and, that gap's 30 right now. So, yeah, anyone who is outside, it's absolutely a must-win at this point, given, it's not really as much of a bubble, so to speak.
And so there's the rear end angle of the 16 of Ryan O'Toole. You can see up in the background there, kind of blocked by the ticker. That's Corbin McCauley, the race leader, starting to catch up to him eventually. It looks like potential three-car battle about to ensue here for the second position.
Yeah, McCauley just kind of, again, it seems like this happens at the tracks we haven't been to in a little bit. Corbin McCauley seems to have the jump on, a lot of guys. It has to be said. I mean, we kind of saw it with Kalinian in the road courses as well, but, Kalinian, again, those guys with the higher I ratings, the experience, they're the ones who are going to adapt to these tracks and all their particular intricacies much better and kind of smoother than anybody else. So perhaps not a surprise to see things shaking out as they are right now.
So McCauley ahead of Kalinian by almost 2.5 seconds, but meanwhile right here, about a half a second back of the 0 is Justin Belmonte making his way through the field. CD Magger, Mandy Hurdle, and Darcy Ford all starting to catch up as, on my timing screen, now Ty Higginbottom's starting to have the Darcy Ford treatment. Caution!
Oh boy!
Bryce Fontaine!
All right, so now this might alter things a little bit. Obviously, again, you alluded to the fact that there's no stage caution that's going to bail these guys out here in terms of, again, the actual caution. Yeah, as we see him spinning. Yeah, just entirely self-inflicted. Just got a little slippery on that high line.
No one else involved in that one, thank goodness.
Yeah, not quite what he had in mind when he came in tonight. Said, "Hey, let's take this one for a spin." Yeah, did what he could to control it, and yeah, smartly. You're seeing the majority of the field come in effectively. It's a perfect opportunity to split this opening stage in half. Again, not as meaningful with the lack of a traditional stage caution, so to speak, but hey, an opportunity to kind of reset here about 15% of the way into this one.
So it seems like there might have been a lot of interesting calls under this yellow flag pit window. Looks like a lot of guys might have maybe just went for 2 tires and fuel, maybe just fuel. We'll definitely take a quick look back right here. I know the number 17 definitely took 4 tires, so get a good angle
Lost
here.
A little track position as a result.
Okay, actually, yeah, so a couple of guys just going for fuel.
I mean, if it feels good in terms of the overall ride, why not ride it out a little longer? I don't mind the altering strategies. Now we've got ourselves a bit of a race.
So yeah, Kalinian was another guy that took 4 tires on his stop. So it's going to be Adam Wilson up front here. He decided not to come down pit road. Again,
Well,
he did get,
yes.
again, he had that issue at the start of the race. So wasn't that box. It's been 28 laps since then.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how Wilson handles this one, whether he's able to hang on for 18, 19, 20 laps, whatever it winds up being. It'll be 20 because there goes the pace car.
So green flag in the air. A couple guys taking 4 tires, a couple guys taking just fuel. Adam Wilson will take the lead.
Yeah, not for long, you won't.
Actually, that aged poorly. C.D. Magram takes the lead into turns 1 and 2.
And yeah, McCauley right on the back of Wilson looking for second here. So yeah, the track position gamble may not have worked out for Adam Wilson as we got a bit of a high rider there coming through the turn.
That was the 77 of Hunter Young. The 17 to the inside of the 21. So McCauley to second. Belmonte is going to get past Wilson for the 3rd position. Some jostling back here down the back straightaway. Jose Mercado now looking to try and get past the 21, who's really trying to utilize that high line. Darcy Ford, Andy Hurdle, pair of 5190 racing drivers right there going at it. Jordan Kalinian going to try and get past the both of them. He's now in the 7th position.
Couple of guys will do that.
Indeed so. A couple guys going high to low there through turns 1 and 2. Corbin McCauley now going to take the race lead from C.D. Magram with those 4 tires.
Yeah, it looks like and judging on some of the turn exits, it looks like Rockingham's turning into a bit of a roller coaster here, Reeks.
Cars going all over the place. Jostling positions back and forth on lap 33 of 196. And you were alluding to earlier about Ty Higginbottom starting back in the pack. He started the race in 21st and is now up to 11th.
Yeah, so again, he made up a lot of those positions early. He's been able to hang on to that. Of course, winner at North Wilkesboro earlier this year, the last track that could, semi-replicate the feel of this one, and he was able to navigate the chaos that particular night. If he's able to do a back-to-front drive here for his 3rd win of the year, that'd be one of the great drives of the season, I would have to think.
I mean, no better way to try and build momentum going into the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs. This is Jordan Kalinian and Justin Belmonte going at it for the 4th position. The number 0 is going to clear the way. Kyle Knoll getting past Wilson for 7th. He's going to charge at Trevor Binns for 6th.
Yeah, and Knoll is going to want to keep...
Almost 3 wide. They are 3 wide going down the front stretch.
Oh, boy. But, you know, full credit to them, keeping it pointed in the right direction.
Meanwhile, the 21 continues to fall like a rock.
Yeah. Hey, good pun, first of all. Yeah, it took me a second to catch that one, but yeah, that was good. And yeah, unfortunately, with the alternate strategy, it doesn't look like Adam Wilson's catching anybody right now.
CD Magramy onto the outside wall there. Kalinian might have had a bit of a wiggle.
I was wondering if Hurdle might have briefly tapped Mangrum there, but it looks like no harm, no foul.
Oh, Young and Sears got really close there going into turn 3. Sears drops back in behind. No, he's still side by side with the 93 for the 16th position. Just barely. Kalinian back up to 2nd. Magram 3rd. Hurdle's 4th. Binns trying to hang on to 5th over Knoll and Belmonte on lap 38. Coming very close to 10 laps to go in the first stage.
Yeah, and yeah, that's going to be our first kind of indicator as to where everybody is here. Obviously, you know, with the stage split up by the caution, there isn't really a whole lot of drama in terms of, you know, fuel stretching for your stage points here. So it's pretty much just all out here over the next 10 laps. But hey, things can still happen on the track, quite obviously. Yikes. Hurdle got the clear there.
All good for the number 7 Chevrolet. He sticks it to 3rd. Battle going right here for the 4th position between... It's a 5-car battle. Look at Ty Higginbottom. You were talking about him with possibly one of the greater runs we've ever seen in the series.
I mean, I was talking about one race. I wasn't thinking one stage.
That too.
Like, this is... It's arguably all the more impressive that he's done it that quickly. But again, just he'll have to see if he can consolidate that result at the end. Yeah, we got a full-on traffic jam here. And the most interesting component of that, like as much as we're talking about Higginbotham being in this battle, the most interesting part of it's actually at the head of it between Knoll and Binns, because obviously Kyle Knoll's going to want to do everything he can to protect that 12th spot in the standings right now. And Binns, again, he's one of those guys that's on the outside looking in. He's been knocking on the door of some strong finishes here lately. Of course, P3 last week, a couple of top 5 stages at Pocono the week before. So Binns, he's finding his form. I mean, again, we talked about craziness. Might be, but we talked about craziness. If he's able to steal something and just ruin Kyle Knoll's playoff chances, oh boy, we could be in for some drama, but still a long night yet.
And yeah, as you mentioned, Knoll having that final playoff spot thus far on points. Knoll is 4th. There's Trevor Binns right nearly on his rear bumper there going into turn 1. Mike Marini, who currently holds that 11th spot, is back in 13th.
Okay, so that would mean Knoll would actually jump Marini into 11th. Marini would then become the man on the bubble, 12 being in 12th in real time. But we'll do our best to sort that out in about a minute and a half time. As we got someone, was that Ford?
That's Jason Heaney, the number 9 Coors Light car, possibly in trouble.
Yeah, and that's another guy who's trying to knock on that picture, like on the playoff picture from the outside. Again, started 13th, like in the overall standings, he was 13th going into tonight. Got to keep her straight here, guys. This is, you know, do or die here tonight.
Absolutely, and one thing I might as well note here, I mean, it's no surprise, the top 6 are all cars that took 4 tires on those last pit stops.
Man, thank God you added that last part. I was wondering what other vehicles were going to be in on this.
So now Macaulay's going to go and lap Jason Heaney here with 3 laps to go, or I should say 2.5 laps to go in stage 1. Kalinian 3.5 seconds back. Andy Hurdle in third. Noel and Binns are going to go side by side for fourth. That one extra point could do wonders.
Again, more for Noel than Binns in this case. For Binns,
Yes.
it's a must win, but Kyle Noel, any breathing room he can get, he's got to fight for it. And he knows it.
Absolutely. Noel's really utilizing that high line. Binns sticking around low to middle-ish, but Ty Higginbottom trying to sneak towards them in behind. He's lurking, trying to go for maybe 2 extra points here, try to beat the both of them.
Well, I mean, when you're battling each other, you're not focusing on who's behind. As you know, we're on that fateful lap now.
It'll be really hard to get off this battle, even though we have to get the order of everybody here coming to the... well, it's not going to be a green checker flag to an extent, because obviously we're still going green, but time to do a bit of a rush, a very marathon or like here. Macaulay first, Kalinian takes second, Andy Hurdle's going to take third, Noel fourth, Binns fifth, Higginbottom sixth, Magram seventh, Fountain eighth, Belmonte ninth, Darcy Ford 10th.
Okay, so that was a late flip at the line with Fountain nipping 8 from Belmonte. I will do my best to get some real-time numbers up here, and we will get this all up to date here as quickly as possible, just to give you a real sense of what's happening.
Actually, I was just about to go to a replay, but I think Kyle Noel might have had something happen there, because he has dropped back behind both the 33 and the 97.
Well, the important thing in his case is that, you know, he got the stage
point.
point.
Oh, yeah. Got loose coming off of turn 4, but I could have sworn I saw something happen to somebody on the front stretch. Yes! Jason Heaney got into the inside wall down the front straightaway. I knew I saw a car going into the grass as the cars are crossing the line there to conclude the first stage.
Yeah, Heaney's having a bit of a rough go here tonight, and this is the night where, again, this is where it matters the most.
So unfortunately, it looks as though the number 9's hopes of remaining eligible for the Earl Ross Cup are dwindling and dwindling every single lap. But here in stage 2, Macaulay's still in the lead there by 3 seconds or so over Kalinian. Adam Wilson to pit road.
And he pitted right at the beginning of stage 1 as well, whether that was intentional or not. But again, interesting. I don't think he did pit on that caution, so
No.
maybe that's actually an indicator of being able to go a little longer fuel-wise. Because again, pitted on lap 1 and he's coming in now. Maybe there's something in that.
Mark Roulette also came down as well. Oh, geez, Trevor Binns. Ghostbusters again right there. But yeah, Adam Wilson, before this pit stop right here, he was on a stint of 52 laps.
Yeah, so again, maybe like now there's proof of concept. You can get through a stage. Yes, the not as much of a burn during that caution period, but there's potential to be able to make something work. And again, that final stage being 98, yeah, you could have some fun with that.
Possibly interesting development here. Tom Janikowski, remember him? He was all the way back towards like 18th, 20th range. He's up to 12th.
Yeah, he started 18th. Again, he's a guy that's still very much in the must-win category here. Again, as anyone outside the top 12 very much is, and especially now that I've got updated points here. So, again, top 10, they're locked in. Don't necessarily need to worry about them. Again, Kyle Noel with his 4th place finish in stage 1, 7 points. He jumps Marini for 11th in the standings, so Marini's bubble now to Jason Heaney in 13th is 33 points. Justin Belmonte lurking another 1 point back of Heaney, so 34 back of the bubble. Binns 48 back. Again, at this point, it's must win if you're outside the top 12.
Absolutely, and I was just about to say about the 93, he did get 4 tires on during those yellow flag pit stops. So, I mean, makes sense right there. But still, though, pretty solid for a guy who's been very consistent with top 15 finishes across the year. Does have one top 10, if my memory serves correctly. He's currently trying to get past the number 64 of Darcy Ford, who only took fuel on that last stop by the looks of it, with only a 6.8 second pit stop right there, as Ty Higginbottom continuing his solid run here tonight from the back of the pack. He has now moved up to 4th past Trevor Binns, but the 33 might not try to give up just yet.
Well, Binns has to, well, I was about to say that he has to go for it, but he has to do it smartly. That's the biggest thing here for the 33. Yes, he's shown he is a car that can run at the, well, head of the field might be a little generous given the time gaps between, but he's in a top 5 car right now. He's got to just keep his nose in it, but keep it clean as well. So like that's his only hope of again upsetting the balance at the bottom of the playoff standings here right now. But yeah, Binns, he's looking good. We'll see how long that lasts and whether or not he's able to mount a challenge here at the end of the night.
So now lap 62 of 196. McCauley's still with a 5-second lead over Kalinian. This is Adam Wilson 2 laps down, but he's getting past a bunch of cars here. Whoa! Contact between the 80 and the 97 down the back straightaway. They're both still going just fine, but there's only 13 cars left on the lead lap. Ouellette and Wilson are both multiple laps down. Wilson's 2 laps down. Ouellette is at 3. Jason Heaney is back on track at 5 laps down.
Yeah, and it was getting a little congested there. Of course, you had your 2 Tornado Alley racing guys there in the form of Higginbotham and Wilson. Wilson, I mean, again, 2 laps down right now, but might just take an extra half second to take his line, just hold up Trevor Binns a little bit to give Higgy a little bit of breathing room there. No harm, no foul, but ultimately, every man for himself.
Janikowski, we did see there, was trying to get past the 64, but then Darcy Ford, a.k.a. Cole Trickle, eventually then got back past Kenny Irwin Jr.
Yeah, the Joker got outgunned that time as Belmonte's in.
Yeah, this is number 6 Warrior Racing Ford making his way down pit road.
Yeah, the Warriors got to come out and play tonight here, but again, find himself in pit lane. He was running good earlier, and did grab 9th in stage 1, but again, it's win or bust. So we'll see what kind of tricks the 6 has up his sleeve as the 64 follows him in.
Belmonte's going to go for 4 tires and fuel. We'll see what the 64 Darcy Ford's going to go for.
I mean, at this point, I'd have to imagine something similar, but again, we'll find out.
Just trying to find a good angle. There we go.
Yeah, throwback or not, the one thing that doesn't change is the John Cena pit crew.
Jordan Kalinian down pit road. So Belmonte and Ford both going for 4 tires and fuel. Jared Ireland goes for 4 tires. He's currently 2 laps down.
Yeah, your standard service here at this point. Not really a whole lot to write home about.
Here's Jordan Kalinian. We'll see what he's going to do, as I believe McCauley's coming down pit road now.
And again, he'd built up a rather hefty gap at the head of the field. Again, not necessarily a surprise. We saw a bit of a clinic there at Pocono a couple of weeks ago and was, looking decent at Indianapolis, obviously, but turned into a bit of a dogfight there at the end. But, yeah, we'll see how McCauley responds. It was an immediate response to Kalinian coming in, of course.
So McCauley's going to go for the 4 tires and fuel, and big congratulations to the number 7 of Andy Hurdle. He leads the nice lap.
Hey, there we go.
Perfect momentum for the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he still thinks the final lap from Charlotte is significantly nicer than that one, but hey, you go for that lap every single time.
That's his second best
Yes.
lap led all season.
Yeah.
We'll take it like that. Yeah.
Yep, that's fair. And one other thing I should have noted in the playoff or regular season points when I was going over that earlier, I said there wasn't much happening in the top 10. There was a change at the very top. So Corbin McCauley now leads the overall regular season point standings after that stage win as well. So that's a notable development. He's now 2 points up on CD Mangrum and 12 on Jordan Kalinian.
I'm debating whether or not we have we continue to go past tallying the regular season points. Like when we get into the playoffs, do we continue tallying up the overall points, and at the end of the season we we release a graphic saying this is who would have won if we didn't have the playoffs?
Oh, well, ask me after any final race drama and we'll talk.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we'll have a regular season champion. We'll have a overall series champion from the playoffs. Of course, we'll have a best of the rest champion. The rookie of the year at this point, or first year of the year, however you want to put it, because of loose words, whatever. Jordan Kalinian still continues to be in a world of his own, almost 100 points above Adam Wilson. But again, maybe that playoff pressure with Kalinian being right there, like kind of, if you're to do like a tier list, he's like right at the top with McCauley and Mangrum. So it's like, could that pressure get to him, or is he just gonna go the next 7 races and just be like, it's all mine?
Well, I mean, that tier list is one thing. He doesn't want to be, shedding any tears at the end of the playoffs. That he's been around it long enough that his main focus is just what happens on the track at this point.
I mean, the best way to put the playoffs for this season is, oh, never mind. I was going to say something. Jose Mercado gets into the wall off of 2. It's a bit of a traffic.
Yikes.
There was a traffic jam going on between a bunch of cars for some time there, but it looks like it's been all cleared up now on lap 76 of 196. But what I was going to say about the playoffs is that nobody is going to be able to correctly predict a championship 4.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, I feel like
you're hesitant.
There is a little bit of a separation there at the top, but again, it's underscored by the fact that it feels like any really of the 12 who get in after tonight, it feels like any of them could win any given week. So
exactly,
that could upset things at any given time. So yeah, that's an absolutely fair point. Obviously, there are names you can look at and kind of lean toward, but again, everything has to be finished up on the track as much as anything else. So yeah, no sense speculating until we see what happens.
We have a bunch of cars coming down pit road. Bryce Fontaine, Trevor Binns, trying to keep track with everything here.
Yeah, that tracks, because it is about 52, 53 laps since we had our one caution of the evening. So we saw that kind of run from Adam Wilson. That was the one that sort of set the table for everybody else. So this is right around when I would have expected anybody else to make their way in.
So yeah, pretty much everybody that's making the required green flag pit stop is taking 4 tires and fuel. I mean, it only makes sense at this track, but eventually it looks like the 17 is going to cycle back to the race lead. I saw some smoke there, but no idea where that may have come from.
Yeah, so if we're looking at kind of the overall pace here and tire wear being what it is, looks like we're looking at probably 2 more green flag pit stops between here and the end. Last one's coming with somewhere in the ballpark of 10 to 12 laps remaining if current form holds, but obviously track conditions do change over time.
Jason Heaney has been in his box now for, looks to be about over 5 minutes now.
Yeah, and again, if we're talking like 20-second laps, 5 minutes, that's about, that's a significant number of laps down. Yeah, that'll be the lead contender, shall we say, outside of our current top 12. He's fallen by the wayside at this point.
And I was just saying that Roman McCauley eventually recycling back to the race lead, and indeed he does. So Kalinian is about 6 seconds back of him, and then next up would be Kyle Knoll in 6th. There's still Ryan O'Toole, Charlie Sears, and Jason Butler that have yet to come down. Andy Hurdle's right there. He came in, well, it looks to be about 3 laps to go. Jason Butler, Charlie Sears are going to finally come down. I wonder if the number 10 is going to try to get that front end repaired. If they can.
I mean, why not? If the option's available, why not at least consider it? Like, you have to throw everything at tonight's race here. Again, given what's at stake. Yeah, Butler's a little bit further down in 19, but like, again, you have to leave no stone unturned here. And kind of a rock pun there, but close enough.
Yeah, the front end does look a little unhappy.
I was going to say, yeah, it even does look like it's frowning a little bit.
Charlie Sears makes his way off pit road on lap 85. 8 cars remaining on the lead lap now. It's still the number 17 leading the way. There's Tom Janikowski making his way to pit road again.
I was going to say, what was the... He has been in stage 2, that's right. So I wonder if the 93 encountered something somewhere along the way.
Well, I mean, he's 3 laps down now, so...
Again, that would be another guy that, again, outside the top 12, that'd be just another one, not biting the dust, because that's kind of mean, but obviously their chances dwindling here by the lap.
Looks like Butler's front end is fixed, so yippee to that.
Now, interesting development. I didn't see where it happened, but again, after how well he ran, yeah, Trevor Binns down in 18th, 2 laps down. Again, he was top 5 in stage 1. A guy who needed the win tonight. I don't know if I missed it or what happened, but a couple laps down, something clearly didn't go the way of the old Skull Bandit.
Was down pit road what looks to be 8 laps ago. So maybe something did happen that we did miss. Again, to I guess that is kind of the unfortunate circumstances of tonight's event. Again, with the limited ticker, I mean, that's how it is when you throw back. Because obviously back in the day, there wasn't... obviously, technological advantages weren't fully there yet back in the early to mid 2000s. Of course, we got the NASCAR and NBC theme from those days, which, yes, but this is still definitely cleaner than what we had last year. Nothing against it, but you could see this better.
Yeah, absolutely can. And speaking of seeing things, I'm seeing a bit of activity in the YouTube chat, so we should shout out a couple of those guys. Clearly a Koopa's Racing fan in the chat in the form of Ben Summerford, who's shouting out Mark Willett, Jason Heaney, and Trevor Binns. And then, of course, CD Mangrum superfan Mark Flott checking in on the chat here as well. And again, his man, he's running toward the top. That's CD Mangrum, Mr. Consistent.
Yeah, we're shouting at some of the fans here that have tuned into tonight's live production of Canadian eMotorsports Network Action on iRacing, powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue, Season 5 of the NASCAR Series, regular season finale. Shouting them out. Might as well shout out also.
I was going to say, I spoke too soon on Bangarang. I guess he's running 12th right now. Again, limited ticker, folks. Usually he finds his way toward the head of the field.
Oh, caution.
Anyway, go ahead with the shout out. Okay. So, 93. I can't remember how long the last caution was. Will this effectively end stage 2?
Stage 2, white flag is lap 98.
Yeah, so 5 laps.
It's on 94 now.
We'll find out soon enough. Got to figure out what happened, though, I guess, would be the main thing.
Am I fair to oh, boy. That cut off.
Found it.
Yeah, we found it, but okay, now here it is fully. Ooh. Jason Butler hard into the wall twice. Yeah, I was just saying the front end was fixed, and then that backfired.
Yeah, I think that was the front end's way of saying, yeah, just kidding. Yeah, just...
I was also thinking of something related to the scheme he's running, but I think I'm going to stay professional.
Yeah, that's probably a good call.
But still a great... Danica Patrick ran some good schemes, though.
She did, yes. Now, hopefully that web platform isn't crashing quite as much as Butler's had his incidents here tonight.
So that's our second caution of the race after earlier Bryce Fontaine going around on the front stretch. Now it's for Jason Butler hitting the wall twice on the back straightaway. And we're very quickly approaching here the end of the second stage as Corbin McCauley, Ty Higginbottom, and I believe Justin Belmonte came down pit road. So I think McCauley went for 4 tires and fuel. Higginbottom went for just fuel. Belmonte got 4 tires.
Yeah, well, I mean, it looks like it's effectively a free pit stop there. Or wait, you said the ticker only updates at the end of each lap, correct?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's why I was a little thrown off by still seeing McCauley in the 1 spot.
Couple more cars down pit road. Darcy Ford, Jared Ireland, Charlie Sears, Mason Tomlinson. Hooray for the bad pit cameras.
Well, I mean, we do enjoy the cameras that we do have. We should, be very professional and appreciative of that, because we will get into that particular segment here. We've got a bit of time, obviously, but we'll get there.
No, but the thing is, though, I say bad because, unfortunately, we do not have TrackHams22.com cameras for Rockingham Speedway.
That would do it.
Which is why if we did have them, then absolutely we would have some fantastic cameras going at it. But, of course, being one of the vintage tracks that hasn't been run in a while in real life, stock car racing, then, it's no surprise. So I knew that one. I was able to slip away with that one. But yes, still understandable, though. We should be grateful that we do even have these cameras at all. Because, NASCAR Heat 5. Ugh.
Yes, sir.
Also, breaking news, it looks like it's going to be a 1-lap shootout for the second stage.
Oh, for God's sakes. You may as well just stay at start-finish line.
49 plus 49 equals 98, so woohoo.
God damn you, pace car.
And I'm hearing no yelling. I'm hearing no yelling from the other side of my room, so that definitely means I'm correct.
Now, very interesting that Kyle Knowles there in second. If he's able to snag a stage win at a playoff point, he's just going to make his life so much easier. Kalinian, he's not going to let him have it easily, of course, but Knowles in the hunt.
It's going to be the worst way imaginable to calculate who gets the stage results. Kyle Knoll. Oh, man. Trouble on the restart. Caution is out. No one really got up to speed on that one.
Yikes.
And Jordan Kalinian's going to sneak a stage win out of all that.
Well, he's going to wonder where everyone else went.
So, to the line, this actually does make my job easier. I originally thought it wasn't going to be. So, Kalinian, McCauley, Justin Belmonte, Andy Hurdle, Ty Higginbottom. That's your top 5. Okay. Adam Wilson is going to come around for 6th by the looks of it. Bryce Fontaine looks to be 7th. Kyle Knoll, I think, is going to be 8th. Darcy Ford, 9th. And Mason Tomlinson, 10th.
Okay, we should indicate, very unofficial results at this point. We're doing the best we can. Obviously, that particular situation kind of threw some things off as well, as Kalinian immediately heads to pit lane. And we got another update in the YouTube chat from one Jay Butler. 38 minutes of mandatory repairs.
Ouch.
How would you like a, not sideline reporter, but on-track reporter gig, Jason, for the rest of the night?
Here's a replay of what happened here on the quote-unquote restart.
Yeah, the no start. Yikes.
Yeah, nowhere to go for a couple of guys. Janikowski, Mark Roulette. Thank goodness that wasn't bigger. Wouldn't surprise me if the 15 might have missed a shift possibly on that restart.
So, based on the positioning, obviously he fell much further down the field than 8th. That must have been where he was when the caution was triggered.
Yes.
Yeah, so I just had to make A1, 100% sure on that. Okay, so with that in mind, I'll do the other job that I was doing. Okay, so...
But yeah, earlier I was gonna again mention the partners that are with us within the Canadian eMotorsports Network. Might as well do it under this caution here. Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue, the title sponsor of the series for Season 5. Rampage Coffee Co., Piping Kettle Soup, Forked River Brewing Company, Bangarang Hard Seltzer, Nordic Aluminum, GSGSG Vinyl 3D, GTR, of course, TrackHams22.com. They do not have a camera pack here for tonight's event at Rockingham Speedway, but hopefully we will have one for the rest of Season 5 for the whole 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs. And of course, Dulux of London for being the title sponsor of tonight's first annual event at the virtual Rockingham Speedway in Rockingham, North Carolina.
Indeed, indeed. Maybe not quite as eventful as we expected so far, just the 2 cautions, but we now have the second half of tonight's race to go. Now we can, Tom Janikowski's Joker might be getting ready to laugh a little bit.
Oh, and I just laughed, go figure.
You did.
Damn it.
Well,
you say this hasn't been eventful. I mean, the positions, the jostling back and forth throughout the field, we've seen cars using multiple grooves. Even drivers even using the inside when people, drivers before the race were, even saying that they didn't want to. But so far, everything's been going mostly smoothly. We've had a couple incident-related cautions, but, no major wrecks. People have been getting through this mostly just fine. We still have, almost everybody's still in this race. A bunch of cars, a bunch of laps down, but again, still smooth sailing thus far. Some stuff has occurred, but yes, the second half could seriously do wonders here at the virtual Rockingham Speedway. As I say that, on the restart for the final stage, the 17. Not really getting up to speed, almost contact with Ty Higginbottom.
Oh, there was, but they kept it straight. Now, I'll qualify that statement by saying it was in terms of sheer carnage that not much has happened. Yeah, there's been a lot of movement, but everyone's
And strategy.
That too.
Almost 3 wide for 4th. How about Bryce Fontaine?
Yeah, he's kind of hanging around there, isn't he? You know, stage points or points in both stages
Whoa,
here tonight.
Hunter Young saves it. Oh, we're 3 wide. Hunter Young and Jason Heaney about getting together there. Off the final corner, Kyle Knoll trying to make his way back up through the field. He's in 7th, but this is huge right here.
Yeah, it is. Meanwhile, I think Andy Hurdle was going in pit lane in the background, but yeah, this is the much bigger story right now. Justin Belmonte at the head of the field, again, very ready to upset the balance here, and yeah, Mike Marini, he better look out there. Oh, yeah, there's... yeah, 1 and 1 didn't equal 3, unfortunately, for the 7 there.
So Andy Hurdle to pit road with damage there, a bit of the Jason Butler treatment on the backstretch. But would you look at this now, coming to 96 laps to go. Yeah, that's...
Yep. No, 91.
91, sorry.
No.
Or 9.
Of 196, it'll be 89 at the line.
Whatever. It's something like 90 laps to go, something like that. But would you look at this? Justin Belmonte below the cut line by like 30-plus points, something around there. He is looking here to try to win his way into the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs and possibly take Mike Marini out.
Yeah, so good timing on that. I've got your updated standings here right now. That bubble gap is 26 between Marini and Belmonte, who's now moved up to 13th in real time. Of course, Justin Belmonte being at the head of the field would absolutely change everything. If he's able to hold on, still a long way to go, obviously. And speaking of head of the field, it's now an 11-point gap between Corbin McCauley and both Jordan Kalinian and C.D. Mangrum for the top spot in the regular season standings.
So yeah, only 2 points. Or no, sorry, how many did you say?
So that gap has widened considerably.
Oh,
it's
so
now
11?
Yeah, so it's 11 between
11,
McCauley and Kalinian and Mangrum are tied at 672, is what I'm getting at there. But obviously that's significant as well because, 5 additional bonus points between first and second, 15 for first, 10 for second. And then 8 for third. So, yeah, kind of a big deal.
So basically, when it comes to Kyle Knoll and Mike Marini, if Justin Belmonte were to win this thing, Kyle Knoll needs to make damn sure that he finishes this race in a clean slate. More than likely should try to finish ahead of Mike Marini, who is currently... That's the thing. Knoll is on the lead lap. Mike Marini is ahead of him on the track at the moment, but he's 1 lap down in 11th.
Yeah, it's a 7-point gap between Knoll and Marini as it stands right now, with Knoll holding the upper hand.
So this could get very interesting here. I mean, again, hey, these top 2 drivers right here, they're pretty familiar with each other for certain reasons.
Yeah, they are. And you know what? Again, a little bit of unfamiliarity on this track. Like, yeah, it's not concrete, but, could be eerily reminiscent of Belmonte's flying runs at Dover before, things kind of went sideways for him, literally.
It's about just over 2 tenths separating the 6 and the 17. Flashbacks to Auto Club last year, and then for this season, flashback back to Dover Motor Speedway. These two going for the win, under 20 laps to go. They get together. Adam Wilson then is able to go and steal the win, get his first career victory in the NASCAR Series. But now in this situation, thinking back to that, with the 17 behind him, that number 6, man, oh man. for quite some time, he was really hoping that a different result was achieved back at Dover just a couple months ago. But now here in front of the 17 in the regular season finale where he needs to win to keep himself eligible for the championship. Oh, man.
This is gonna get dicey, and it's already spicy, my friend. I cannot wait for the next 80 laps.
And again, the man behind the 6 has already won 3 races this season, is coming off a win just a couple weeks ago at Pocono, and then fell just short of the victory back at Indianapolis last week. So he's been starting to pick up some momentum after I don't have the perfect number of his winless streak. I think it was about 9 races or so, because they did win 2 earlier in the season at Las Vegas and Phoenix.
Yeah, 9 would be right there. So that was rounds 2 and 3 that he won, and then it was round 13 that he got back onto the top step. So, yeah, 9 races kind of wedged in there.
There's a couple cars here packed together for what looks to be between 4th and 9th. The first 3 of them, Fountaine, Kalinian, and Wilson, are on the lead lap. Ireland and Mangrum are both 1 lap down in 9th and 10th. Kyle Knoll is way behind them, but in 7th, so he's still holding just fine.
He's behind but ahead at the same time. That's the beauty of NASCAR.
Exactly. Oh, Bryce Fountaine into the outside wall, as I think Darcy Ford might have had another Ghostbuster moment. Side by side for the 4th position, it is Kalinian versus Fountaine. Oh man, Wilson, it looked like he was going to try to make it potentially 3 wide, as it looks as though Jordy might have just had a technical issue there, so hopefully he'll be able to get back in within a moment or so. Jared Ireland to the high side of Fountaine. He is 1 lap down, but trying to make his way to the front so that he gets himself back on the lead lap, try and take advantage of some track position. Mangrum gets past the 22 as well, so Fountaine might be a little slower after some of that wall contact there. Coming into turn 1. The 6 and the 17 still remaining close for the lead on lap 121, coming to lap 122. If the math serves correctly, about 74 laps to go in the Dulux of London 200. And we might as well, at this point, get this over with in case the rest of the race decides to become an absolute, how would I put it, a strategic melee. If we get multiple cautions, then not even close to strategy, who the heck knows. Even though TrackCams22.com is not with us tonight in terms of the camera package being used, they are still the sponsor for the Crank It Up. So, it's time for one last time here in the regular season of Season 5, the TrackCams22.com Crank It Up. So that was the TrackCams22.com Crank It Up. Obviously, they're not with us tonight. We do not have a camera package from them for the virtual Rockingham Speedway, but nonetheless, they're still a sponsor for the Crank It Up, so we thank them very much, of course, and we look forward to the collaboration continuing for the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs, which, again, friendly reminder, does not begin next week. We will have a week off to give ourselves a little bit of a break here and prepare for 7 consecutive weeks of mayhem. That is certainly that may be the most unprofessional way to put it, but at the same time is the most realistic way of putting it. It's going to be the Rampage Coffee Co 250 on July 9th, Tuesday, July 9th, at the Darlington Raceway to begin the first of 4 rounds. It'll be 3 rounds of 2 races each, where it'll be 12 drivers, then 10 drivers, and then 8 drivers. And then when we get to that round of 8, there'll be 2 races where we then have to eliminate 4, and then only 4 drivers can go for that coveted Earl Ross Cup at Homestead Miami Speedway on August 20th.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, Riggs, we were talking about it off mic there, but certainly, yeah, looking forward to the week off, but launching right back into it with that Rampage round of 12, because again, Rampage Coffee Co., they're sponsoring both races in that round of 12. I'm amped up for that. I mean, I don't want to say I don't need the Rampage coffee because we love them. That just helps. We love them even more. Coffee, coffee, coffee.
And now finally I'm able to get to the giveaway post that we did put out some time ago. As actually, before I get to that, Jordan Kalinian has caught up to Macaulay and taken the 2nd position. That's 17, continuing to struggle.
Yeah, we noticed that during the Crank It Up, also known as when I came back after my internet briefly went Ghostbusters. But yeah, 17, he was dominant in stage 1 and would have won stage 2 as well had he not opted to pit during that late caution. But yeah, something not quite right there, as here's the guy who's on the hot seat right now.
So the way the Rampage Coffee Co. Giveaway or contest, however way you want to put it, is going to work in the first round of the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs is you must finish inside the top 10 at the first race at Darlington Raceway to be eligible. And those 10 eligible drivers will then go to Watkins Glen International the next week, and the top finisher of those 10 drivers will receive a bundle of Rampage Coffee Co. coffee.
Yeah, and they've been with us since day 1. We absolutely love our friends at Rampage Coffee, and having this dedicated round to them is just a further emphasis of their dedication to us and our continued appreciation for their partnership and friendship, and we hope to see it continue for a very long time.
Absolutely. Again, without them and all the other partners and sponsors that are with us within the Canadian eMotorsports Network, we wouldn't be doing this. This goes to the partners, the drivers, obviously us, pretty much everybody. If it weren't for any of us, then this effort wouldn't be obviously happening. The effort that's happened since 2020, so I guess you could thank the pandemic for that. But man, oh man, what a ride it's been, of course, and especially what a ride it's been through what has been by far the best regular season, the most competitive regular season that we've had here within the NASCAR Series. Yep. Of course, with many different winners. Obviously, in this race, only 2 playoff spots are open, and with 12 playoff spots now instead of 16. And then again, round of 12, round of 10, round of 8, and then a championship 4. Goodness gracious, in the first round, there's going to be 2, I would even argue in the first round, there's going to be 2 drivers going home that don't deserve to.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, you got to get to the dance to have a shot, but like I said earlier, any of the 12 will have a shot to win, like a legitimate shot. Again, we've got, Darlington is its own beast, as we're seeing 3 wide, and perhaps the start of the final green flag pit window, as we saw Charlie Sears in pit lane. But yeah, Darlington, then the Glen. Again, a couple of very interesting challenges there. You'll need, again, we've emphasized the theme of being a complete driver. That's going to come to the forefront again in the round of 12, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes as Macaulay goes to pit lane.
So does Ryan O'Toole. So Macaulay will be the first of a bunch of top drivers here in the field to come down pit road. Green flag pit stops. Mike Marini did come in 5 laps ago. Jose Mercado came in 17 laps ago. Fontaine 16 laps ago. 7 cars now remain on the lead lap, so it looks as though Justin Belmonte has now made his way onto pit road, so more than likely for everybody, it's going to be once again 4 tires and fuel.
And again, crucially, this looks like it's going to be the final green flag pit window here tonight. We've seen the stints stretch out to about 51, 52, 53 laps. We've got 47 left, so looks like we're good to go until the end unless something, drastic happens.
Would that be Jonathan Peaton saying some good-looking paint schemes out there?
Let's just take a peek.
Cola Gator?
That is our homie Gator, yes. JJ, good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, sure.
Come on back, homie.
Certainly have to agree with that comment. Man, oh man. Have these cars been looking fantastic here tonight at the virtual Rockingham Speedway. Again, vintage cars at a vintage track. We had that back in North Wilkesboro last year. Now this time around, we've changed things up, going to Rockingham for the first time. I mean, last year we went to North Wilkesboro for the first time, so first time.
Yeah, some of those went better than others, if I recall.
Yeah,
if we're going to put it nicely.
Yeah, I guess we could argue that tonight's definitely been cleaner than last year.
Surprisingly so, yeah. That was, we were kind of expecting chaos at Dover as well. That didn't really come to pass. We were expecting, what was it, Pocono maybe for some additional chaos? Whoa, there on the back straight. Something went down there. Yeah, hang on. I just saw it again on the YouTube stream. Let me take a quick peek to see if I can figure out who it was.
Oh, yeah. Jose Mercado with a big save on the backstretch.
And, yeah, that's he's a guy who's been known to run kind of loose setups for sure. And, maybe this is a case where maybe tightening things up a little bit might have helped. Again, Rockingham's, certainly proven to be a slippery surface here tonight as Andy Hurdle slithers into pit lane.
So Belmonte, Kalinian, and Macaulay, those are your top 3. They have all come down pit road recently. Belmonte 4 laps ago, Kalinian 3, Macaulay at 5. The number 6 has a 2-second lead over the 0. And we'll be very quickly approaching here 40 laps to go in the Dulux of London 200.
Yeah, and that's not really a whole lot of change compared to what they were looking at pre-pit stop. So seems like we've pretty well cycled through here for the most part. And yeah, it's pretty much a clean slate from here to the end as we see a battle for second.
This is a replay.
Man, I need the bug.
So the 17 getting past the 0 for second place. So now the thing is, though, we're starting to approach 40 laps remaining, and or actually, I guess we'll be right at that the next lap around here. Yep. So in that case, Belmonte is at a 7-lap stint. Macaulay's at 8. Kalinian's at 6. If we add up the numbers, does that mean we're going to have a very close pit window at the very end?
No, I think they're good until the end.
Okay, maybe.
Again, Adam Wilson was sort of our flag bearer for that first stint. Again, he came in lap 1, and his initial stint was about 52, 53 laps. So unless the track conditions deteriorate to the point where it becomes an absolute fuel monster, then I think we're good until the end.
That's the thing. It's just something we're going to have to naturally find out when we get to the end here. I mean, quite frankly, anything's possible here in the regular season finale. We would not be surprised one bit, whatever the outcome is when we get to, or get within the final laps of tonight's race. But it looks as though the 17 is starting to slowly gain a couple tenths on the 6. It's starting to go back and forth. Now he's starting to fall back a little. Now he's gaining. It's just back and forth.
Yeah, it must be just, better run out of one turn, not so good on the straights. So we'll see what the best setup ultimately turns out to be. But if Corbin McCauley gets onto the back bumper of Justin Belmonte here, Belmonte is going to be in all-time defense mode because, again, second isn't good enough for him tonight. That's just the way it is.
See, that's the thing. You have a guy right here who has to win if he wants to get into the playoffs. And then there's a guy behind him who, again, has 3 wins on the season, but we all know him. This man refuses to finish second.
He is never satisfied on that particular front. Even second place right now would guarantee him top spot in the regular season point standings too, and all those, bonus points that come with it. That's not going to be enough for Corbin McCauley here. And again, Justin Belmonte, he, as aggressive as we've seen him be over the last season and a half, if he has to defend for his life knowing that there's a playoff spot at the end, oh boy. And lap traffic ahead.
So the gap between the 6 and the 17 still, it's remaining relatively the same, still kind of up and down, back and forth, about 1.9, 2.1-ish second gap on average. But yes, there is a lot of lap traffic coming up here for the number 6, so he'll have to navigate his way through. He just got past Tom Janikowski. He's going to have to get past Mark Roulette somehow. Looks like it's going to be on the inside. Brad Keselowski or whoever that throwback is to. Versus Casey Kane. Yeah,
that's definitely the Keselowski from probably a month-ish or so ago. I think it was right before that infamous All-Star race at North Wilkesboro where that scheme made its appearance. And unlike the All-Star race, Belmonte can be known to get a little bit punchy if the stakes get a little higher.
Well, it looks like that traffic did help the 17 a little bit, as now it's about 1.6 to 1.7 seconds.
But notably, McCauley's also going to have to navigate that eventually. So things may have a way of evening out here, but Belmonte's still got to stay on the throttle within reason.
The 17 only has 1 car to get by. Belmonte, I believe, had just 2 or 3. Either one.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe one of them peeled off into pit lane at some point. I'm not entirely sure. But again, all that matters is the positioning right now.
So Belmonte is going to be coming to 30 laps to go.
Whoa!
Kyle Knoll in the grass on the front stretch. Will he get back up safely? Okay, yes. The 17 does get by. Looks as though Jordan Kalinian's starting to catch up to the 17 very slowly. So thank goodness nothing major happened there.
Yeah, well, they do a bit of a false sense of security there for a second, my friend. Just a reminder that, yes, anything can happen.
Oh, but would you look at this? Under a second separating the 6 and the 17 now. But Jordan Kalinian is about half a second back of the 17.
All right, maybe, well, almost surely going to be a 3-car battle here relatively shortly.
Jeez, it's almost like Dover all over again, except you swap the 21 with the 0.
That's true, but now, again, Justin Belmonte's got a bit of clear air now. He was kind of punching that hole through that lap traffic for McCauley and Kalinian to get through. And yeah, if I said things were spicy before, how about a three-way dance here?
3-horse race, and 9/10 are separating the three of them.
Yeah, there's
like it's a 9/10 gap, I'll say.
Yeah, this one's covered by a knit blanket, not your regular blanket. Your knit blanket that's just a little bit smaller, a little bit tighter, but is just right.
Bryce Fontaine to pit road in the background there, but here's the thing though, if the 17 and the 0 start to battle for second, is that going to cause the 6 to start gaining on them though?
I mean, he would love nothing more than to see that, I would say. Because again, these two have been neck and neck all season. McCauley and Kalinian, Belmonte, excuse me, he's been a little bit later to the party, and you know, he'd have a lot less heat on him even if he'd gotten to one more race in that time. Like, if I think it was 2 that he missed. If he'd gotten to 1, he'd have been in the playoffs no problem already. So, yeah, this is a lot of additional pressure. Let's see how he hangs on over the last 24.
And Kyle Knoll got very lucky there that there were a bunch of cars more laps down than him, because he's currently the first car a lap down. He's still in 7th. Mike Marini is 10th. Yeah, far behind the 15. Way far behind. So Belmonte, if the order were to stay it is right now to the checkered flag, then Belmonte, it'd be very much Kyle Knoll making it in on points, and Justin Belmonte would win his way in. Mike Marini would unfortunately be taken out of contention. So that number 12 is going to be seriously praying that something happens here. Maybe he'll be hoping that a fellow driver who's also been here since the very beginning of the series can maybe steal the win and help him out.
I mean, you still have to drive your own race, obviously. But yes, there's absolutely an element of that. And if you recall, last year at Daytona at the end of the regular season, Marini was also fighting for, a win as Wilson taps the wall there. But, Marini was very much in this position of do or die. Last year, he was on the outside looking in. This year, he's the guy barely trying to hang on.
Look at this lap traffic. That's 5 cars ahead of the leaders.
All right, let's do the right thing here, gents.
And we're going to be coming to 20 laps to go, as we're going to be almost side by side for second. And 17 was able to clear the way down the backstretch. About 3/10 or so separating them. About 8/10 separating the 6 and the 17. But if we get a quick view of inside the number 6 car, down the back straightaway, we'll get the best view here eventually.
Yeah.
Look at that traffic.
Yeah, your standard Tobacco Road traffic jam.
This could get chaotic.
I mean, that's kind of what we've been expecting all along, is that, eventually some chaos would come in. But yeah, I'm kind of on the edge of my seat already. And, we still got, oh man. Yikes.
Kalinian will take second place on the high side. Will the 17 not give up just yet? Still trying to stay close. But Kalinian's going to clear the way for second. So is it going to be the first-year driver instead that perhaps tries to steal the win away from the guy that needs to win his way into the playoffs?
I mean, we'll see who's got the run here. I mean, those are the guys who won the 2 stages, of course, tonight. And maybe they'll give each other a little bit of breathing room for the next few laps as Knoll decides to go for an inadvertent wall ride there. But, I don't think we've seen the last of those 2 battling. And, of course, Indianapolis, where they came together, that was just a taste of what's to come.
So Belmonte praying that nothing happens with this lap traffic. Kalini and McCauley don't catch him. There's no caution. Kyle Knoll, all he needs to do is just simply finish this damn thing where he is. Mike Marini, 3 positions back at Knoll, 7th versus 10th. Marini is just praying that someone other than Belmonte, somebody between second and him, wins.
Yeah, because again, as a reminder for the viewers out there, the gap between Knoll and Marini is 7 points right now. So realistically, something would probably, again, Belmonte would have to lose the lead somehow, or, as fittingly, he's about to lap Marini.
2 laps down now.
Either that, or something happens to Kyle Knoll to put him a couple laps down in, I guess it would be 16th if Marini moved up to 9th. Whatever the difference would be to get it to a 7 or 8 point position difference.
Nearly half a second now separating the 6 and the 0 with 14 laps to go. And now getting past Marini. Belmonte still has to get past Bins. So...
that could be a little spicy, but Ben's doing the good guy thing there. Ben's came in as a hopeful here, but oh man, Kalinian is charging.
And Macaulay will be ready to pounce if those two start to get together, but he still has 2 lap cars to get past. But now with Trevor Bins behind Kalinian, Belmonte, I think, still has another car to catch up to here eventually. I believe that's Andy Hurdle. But right now, Belmonte and Kalinian are in their own little space with now 12 laps to go.
But what a run Kalinian got out of that lap traffic, though. That gap just pretty much disappeared in that time. And I just noticed, I think we have the currently started flipped in that graphic. Because Kalinian is not 5th. Just picked up on that. You
maybe
can see the action on the track, though, folks. So
maybe we'll just not bother to use it. But man, oh man, 2 tenths separating the 6 and the 0, coming to 10 laps to go. Now they've gotten past Andy Hurdle, so it's basically a free-for-all for these two. Again, a guy trying to win his way into the playoffs, and then a guy who's already got 3 wins on the season, but would not accept anything less than a win.
All-time defense coming up against a guy who's, did we say he's the highest I rating in the series or second?
Kalinian, I believe, is the highest.
Yeah, so all-time defense effort coming in from Justin Belmonte here, but that may not last very long.
Dive into the inside. Bit of a slide.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of the Castrol being deployed in that turn is a little bit of a slick for Kalinian, for Belmonte to hang on to that one, but we'll see how long that lasts.
Jeez, it's like shades of Dale Earnhardt and Bobby Labonte, Casey Kane versus Matt Kenseth. If Jordan,
Yeah.
I believe Jordan Kalinian was supposed to be running a scheme here tonight, so it'd be Brad Keselowski versus
David
them.
Rudeman.
Yeah, David Rudeman.
Yeah. But yeah, now we're in the single digits. As spicy as it was before, that temperature just goes up and up and up.
So Kyle Knoll is 8th, Mike Marini is 10th. Knoll is 1 lap down, Marini is 2 laps down. Side by side now, Marini is really praying right now that Kalinian could try to steal this one.
Oh man, he is right on the bumper. I don't know if Belmonte can hang on.
Through turns 3
Even
and
with a
4.
push from Mercado.
Almost side by side. Kalinian might have had a bit of a wiggle there. Belmonte is going to lead the lap. It's going to be 6 laps to go. A battle for the ages here.
Line. Oh, Kalinian's got it. He's through.
Kalinian to the race lead. Belmonte falls to 2nd. That's exactly what Mike Marini needed, but this could be absolutely catastrophic for the 6.
Oh, right now it absolutely is. Again, it's win or bust. Like, Jordan Kalinian passing him right there, that is the last thing Belmonte needed. He has to do everything he can to hang on to that draft. Hang on to the back of that 0, but
already
is opening it up.
And already well over half a second separating the 0 and the 6, coming to 4 laps to go. Unless we get a caution, I think we just may have solidified the rest of the playoff grid.
The caution would pretty much have to come now, would it not?
If it's before the white flag, then yes.
Well, throwback rules, like how far back do we go with the green and white checker? I don't think it's going to matter, though. Look at the gap that Kalinian's pulling.
It'd be the same old rules as we have right now. It wouldn't be any case of a throwback unless I wasn't told anything, but right now it's looking so far so good for Jordan Kalinian. Now a second ahead of the 6. Mike Marini currently dancing in his shoes right now. But then again, though, if that yellow flag comes out, that changes everything. All Kalinian needs to do is come back around here, and then he'll have 1 lap to go until his 4th win of the season.
Man, oh man. And now, this would be important for Kalinian because obviously it comes with, an additional 5 points for the win in terms of playoff points. That would pretty much level out the difference between himself and Corbin McCauley in terms of that regular season bonus. So pretty much starting on level footing if he's able to hang on.
Down the backstretch for the final time into turns 3 and 4. The Salisbury, North Carolina native is going to come off the final corner. His 4th win of the season comes in the first annual Dulux of London 200. Heartbreak for Belmonte, but very much a lot of luck for the 12 of Mike Marini. He and Kyle Knoll will make it into the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs.
That was, congratulations to Jordan Kalinian for the win first and foremost. Again, first to get to 4 victories in the regular season. Only one to get there, obviously. But yeah, absolutely heartbreaking for Justin Belmonte. Absolutely drove his guts out in stage 3. Just couldn't hang on for those final 5 or 6 laps. And again, everyone knew what he needed to get in. Everyone knows the kind of talent Justin Belmonte is. Yeah, just that one is going to be a bit of a gut punch for him, I would have to think.
So yes, the driver who was very much contending for that Earl Ross Cup last year in his first running with the series will unfortunately not make it through in his second run. But of course, in the spotlight right now for the 4th time this season, Jordan Kalinian gets by him within the final 10 laps and gets the job done in our first ever run at the virtual Rockingham Speedway. And yes, so Kyle Knoll got 8th. Mike Marini was able to hang on to 12th. So again, all Mike Marini needed was somebody that already had a win to go to victory lane, and Jordan Kalinian just blessed him with that wish. But man, oh man, just absolute heartbreak for the number 6.
Yeah, that's, again, we've seen the overall skill that Belmonte's got. And again, the fact that he's on the outside looking in, that speaks to, again, just the overall quality we've got from top to bottom here. It's a crazy thought to think that the 6 isn't in, but here we are.
So before we get to the talk of the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs, we must, of course, get into the voice chat of iRacing and talk to the man that has collected his 4th career win in the Canadian eMotorsports Network NASCAR Series, powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue. So, Jordy, you can go ahead and send off questions, hopefully some that I haven't asked in time.
Okay, working on it.
Also, if it helps, we have a Jared Ireland saying he's drenched in sweat. I mean, it makes sense. That race was pretty much full-on strategy game.
Well, white knuckle with no brakes, if you recall. Again, no full-on stage caution, so
yes,
you had to be locked in from, lap one, and
yeah,
obviously a little bit longer with the throwback intro as well.
I mean, and again, too, for a throwback race, I think we definitely saw right there one of the classic races that you would see back in the old days of NASCAR racing. So massive props to these drivers. I mean, what was it? Only 2 incident-related cautions, I believe?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was ultimately done the right way on track.
Absolutely, and what was certainly done the right way was the run here by Jordan Kalinian in the final 10 laps. So I'll try to get to him here and see if he be able to tune in with us for the 4th post-race winner interview with him this season.
Noted.
Jordan Kalinian, this is Regan up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I got you, Regan. You hear me?
Give me another test there one more time just to make sure the levels are good.
You able to hear me?
Yep, I believe I should have you there. But Jordan Kalinian, your 4th win of Season 5 here. Quite the way there to round off the regular season for Season 5 of the Canadian eMotorsports Network NASCAR Series, powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue. You win the first annual Dulux of London 200 here at the virtual Rockingham Speedway. You are the first driver in the history books to have won a race at Rockingham. Man, oh man, that battle with Justin Belmonte in the final 10 or so laps. And you had to get past Corbin McCauley. You had to get past a bunch of lap traffic. You eventually got past Belmonte, and you were able to make sure that he wasn't going to be making the playoffs. And I'm sure Mike Marini must be sincerely thanking you for that win, since because of course with the multiple wins that you have now, Kyle Nolan, Mike Marini were able to make it in on points. But besides that, though, just talk about this race overall. I mean, of course, the annual throwback race. Unfortunately, you weren't able to put on a scheme here tonight, but the type of race we saw here tonight certainly had its throwback vibes. Very much a classic race that we would have saw back in the old days of NASCAR, especially at Rockingham Speedway. Tell us about that performance and how you were able to catch up and pass Belmonte there in the final run.
Yeah, it was a really fun race. To start out the runs in the first stage and everything, I really didn't feel like I had the speed to contend, but as the race evolved into a more of a fuel strategy race, it kind of fell into my hands with the saving the tires, and I was really able to just keep that pace up pretty good and not really have the tires fall off as much. So it's really hard getting by Corbin there. He was putting up a good fight, and then once I got up to Justin, he was doing a really good job aero blocking, and with how loose the cars were, it was really hard to turn under him. So he did a great job there, but I was finally able to get underneath him and just kind of hold that middle lane. That way he couldn't arc it back down and get that run, and it just kind of worked out for me. And from there, it was just maintaining the fuel strategy and making sure I didn't run out.
Absolutely, and man, the expectations of all you guys behind the scenes heading into tonight's event, we remember what expectations and hopes were like going into Dover Motor Speedway a couple weeks back. People were thinking that race was certainly going to be a melee, but then we ended up getting one of the better races of the season. Kind of a similar vibes going into tonight, but then only 2 incident-related cautions, and pretty much almost everybody was able to make it to the end there. You certainly were able to in getting the win, of course. Again, just another race where people think, there's going to be all that chaos, but no, we got a strategic classic right there.
Yeah, with these looser setups, the guys really do a lot more give and take. The cars aren't as stable on the exit, so it's a lot harder to maintain the run. So just tends to have the guys spread out a little bit more and give each other more space, and just causes less caution. So everybody did a really good job there.
Jordy has a couple questions here. His first one is, what was it about that final run through the lap traffic where you found the pace you needed to get the job done?
Yeah, like I said, just that pace I was running, it just kind of saved the tires, and it was just let me run that line that kind of suited my style. So yeah, that just really helped me there.
He also talks about the win and the additional playoff points pretty much puts you on level footing with Corbin McCauley going into the playoffs. In the regular season points, you wound up finishing second there. So, I mean, that's also plenty of great momentum going into the playoffs. But how important was it for you to make the statement here tonight, here to get the win at Rockingham Speedway to end the regular season?
I think more so than anything, just having that momentum heading to, I think we're going to Darlington next, and I imagine that'll race kind of similar to this with a looser setup and just tough track. So just really looking forward to that and keeping that momentum going.
And the thing is, too, before we get to the playoffs, of course, we will have that week off next week so that you guys can mentally and physically prepare for 7 consecutive weeks of you and 11 other drivers absolutely going at it for the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup, of course. And after you have the week off, yeah, obviously, as you mentioned there, hoping to have things go well at Darlington Raceway. I mean, you also got Watkins Glen the week after, and then if you're able to make it through the rest of the playoffs, like Bristol, Talladega, Chicago Street Course, Auto Club, Homestead, Miami, and end it all off. I guess what I would ask is, how excited are you for the playoffs coming forward, and what is there anything in particular that might maybe terrify you a little bit, or are you just going all in, just like, let's do this, you know?
The first little bit there, the Darlington, Watkins Glen, Bristol, kind of looking forward to those. Those are some of my better tracks. I like those pretty good. Talladega kind of scares me a little bit. I'm not really a great late racer and usually get caught up in the big one, but hopefully with the amount of playoff points I've racked up, I should be able to squeak through there without much problem. Yeah, the rest of the tracks, they're pretty good for me, so I'm looking forward to them. We'll see how it goes.
And if you were to say one final message here to the fans that tune into tonight's live production of Canadian Motorsports Network Action on iRacing, of course, what would be your message to them? Why should they Why should they come on out every single Tuesday night from July 9th and onward and witness you guys duke it out for the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup?
I think if you just look at the past couple races, we put on a great show. So it's hard to find racing this good, and just appreciate all the fans and the sponsors and the league putting us on, and look forward to the rest of it.
Is there anybody else you'd like to thank, supporters, sponsors on your end, anybody for being able to come on out every Tuesday night and get the job done?
Been told I need to thank my crew chief here. My sister sits here and helps out and does a lot of the strategy, so appreciate that.
Awesome to hear, buddy. Awesome to hear. That was the number 0 of Jordan Kalinian from Salisbury, North Carolina, getting the win here tonight at the virtual Rockingham Speedway in the Dulux of London 200, the first running at Rockingham Speedway in the network's history and the series history. Jordan Kalinian ending the regular season off on a high note. Man, oh man, what a 5th annual Earl Ross Cup playoffs that we have here coming up. And Kalinian, you have a lot of momentum going in, as I've said before. Congratulations on tonight's performance, and moving forward, man. Hopefully we'll be able to talk to you once again in a couple weeks down the line, and obviously, best of luck in your run for the Earl Ross Cup. And so, there you have it. Unfortunately, we... unless I do a certain thing, is that a way we can show off the unofficial results?
Sure. Absolutely.
Sure. So, Jordan Kalinian getting the win, Justin Belmonte in second. Oh my, heartbreak is just going to be the word that I'm going to keep using there. Man, oh man, he was just laps away from winning his way into the Earl Ross Cup playoffs. But man, oh man, he could not stay on the same pace as Jordan Kalinian there in those final couple 10 laps. And yeah, I just saw you saying there behind the scenes, yeah, gutsy final stage. I mean, absolutely. We're seeing all the drivers behind the scenes. I mean, yes, I guess we could argue even e-racers are athletes.
I mean, yes, you can make that argument for sure. Like, I mean, there's definitely a physical and more of a mental exertion as much as anything else, especially everything on the line.
Indeed so. As we continue through the rest of the unofficial results here, Ty Higginbottom, Darcy Ford are going to round out the top 5. Adam Wilson finishes 6th. I mean, again, after what seemed to be a rough start there at the very first green flag, he comes around, finishes 6th on the lead lap, so a hell of a turnaround for him. Jarrett Ireland 7th. Kyle Nolan 8th. He makes it into the playoffs on points. I mean, remember a couple weeks back, he was outside the playoffs looking in. But now it's complete opposite. C.D. Mangrum finishes 9th. Bryce Fontaine with another top 10. Mason Tomlinson falls just short of 1 and 11th. Mike Marini is thanking Jordan Kalinian and the racing gods for that finish right there. He finished 12th. The number 12 finishes 12th, but he still makes it into the playoffs on points. Jose Mercado 13th. Hunter Young 14th. Charlie Sears 15th. Andy Hurdle 16th, Trevor Binns 17th. Man, we saw Trevor Binns running up inside the top 5 early in the race, but then it just seemed like things weren't going his way in the second half. Mark Goulet 18th, Tom Janikowski 19th, Ryan O'Toole 20th, Jason Heaney 21st, and Jason Butler rounding out your 22-car field in the first annual Dulux of London 200 here at the virtual Rockingham Speedway. And I guess we might as well here one more time go to the broadcast booth, of course, and you won't be seeing our faces here for another week or so here, as obviously next week we will be off. We all definitely need a break after the wild regular season that we've been going through, and just knowing what's to anticipate from July 9th and then all those next Tuesdays up until August 20th. I think you know what this means.
For sure. Like, yeah, we've got the week off, but there's very much a let's go vibe to this now, because now that we've got everything set, again, playtime's over, gentlemen. 15 rounds. This was one thing. It almost feels Tour de France in a way, in that, the kind of flat section, or flat with some difficulties over. Now we're into the big mountains, and everyone's trying to get to that final stage where it's just all out at the very end. So, no one's looking for that Champs-Elysees processional just yet. We still got a long way to go. And I think, if tonight's any indicator, I mean, really the first 15 weeks have shown it. There isn't going to be an inch given by anybody is what I'm getting at here. And we'd have it no other way.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously the standings here still have to be updated to after tonight's race, of course, but still, it is still technically accurate if you think about it, because 1st through 12th remains the same besides Kyle Nolan, Mike Marini obviously taking the swap. But if you take those 12 drivers right there, that is your 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs roster. And so everybody else that is in the currently out section will be going for the best of the rest challenge. So at least there's still something to compete for while the playoffs are going on, which, I mean, again, we still have to kind of keep the races exciting and challenging throughout the whole field, of course. So again, it's Jordan Kalinian that'll be making the jump over Macaulay with the 4 wins. Obviously, Macaulay, though, we can confirm is the regular season champion for season 5, and hopefully he'll be able to translate that to an overall series champion. What's the finger for?
Even though he's the regular season champion, he comes in as the number 2 seed. The win for Kalinian, again, that gets him the 5 extra points. That gives him a 1-point advantage over Corbin Macaulay going in. It'll be 2041 to 2040 to start in 2 weeks' time.
Indeed so. So obviously when the standings get updated here, Kalinian will jump over Macaulay in the playoff standings, but in terms of regular season standings, Macaulay still stays above. Well, I mean, he has to stay above. I mean, he is the champion. But if we were to actually take the points and keep them going onward throughout the rest of the season, then it's still Macaulay maintaining the lead there in the overall points. And then, of course, C.D. Mangrum, Ty Higginbottom, Adam Wilson, Andy Hurdle, Charlie Sears, Jared Ireland, Darcy Ford, Jose Mercado, Kyle Knoll, and Mike Marini are going to be the 12 drivers. They're going to be duking it out from July 9th to August 20th at the 6 tracks on the right side, and then that one track in big, bold, black letters at the very bottom. Homestead Miami Speedway playing host once again to the championship race for Season 5 of the Canadian eMotorsports Network NASCAR Series, powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue. Jordy, is there one round in particular that you think stands out from the rest, or is there really not a competition?
I mean, it's like Darlington immediately stands out for the sheer numbers. Watkins Glen, road courses, you can have drivers kind of space out a little bit. But, I mean, then you look at Bristol for the round of 10, Dega to end the round of 10, then Chicago, are you kidding me? And then, Auto Club, what kind of results we get there, or races we get there, I should say. It's hard to really distinguish one from the other, but it's crazy that the championship race is, I would say, undoubtedly the easiest of the 7 tracks remaining. That's where we are right now.
That's the funny part. It's there's 6 races in a row where you're going to be challenged physically and mentally to the brink, and then you get to that one race where it's oh, okay, this might be easy. It's not going to be, but it on paper it does seem like it. Yes, you have to go through just so many bumps on the road just to get there on August 20th.
Yeah, like I said, this is the comparable is the Tour de France mountain stages at this point.
Yes,
that's an absolutely monstrous first 3 rounds of the playoffs, and each thing is it's gonna have its own set of challenges, and you literally cannot look past any of them. That's where we are now. And I love it.
So yes, in round 1, it's the Lady in Black at Darlington Raceway to begin it all off in round 1, and then it's to the road course at Watkins Glen International on July 16th. Round 2 is then going to play to some incredible short track and super speedway action. So we're starting off at the last great Coliseum at the Bristol Motor Speedway, where things are going to be tighter than ever and faster than ever, but then it's going to get even more faster a week later, where we have a super speedway that's going to eliminate 2 drivers from the Earl Ross Cup Playoffs. And then round 3, back at it again, only this time we ended on a road course in round 1, or we're going to end on a road course in round 1. Round 3, we're starting on a road course, or technically speaking, a street course in Chicago. Who's going to try and be as triumphant as Shane Van Gisbergen was in real life? And then, of course, the final race to determine the 4 drivers going to Homestead Miami Speedway to fight for a championship. The track that we saw that late melee play out back in the Dart/IndyCar Series last year.
Yep. At
Auto Club Speedway on August 13th. And then 1 week later, we wrap it all off before the dreaded education year returns. August 20th at Homestead Miami Speedway wraps it all up. Buckle your seatbelts, grab some popcorn. You'll probably want to stock up for 7 weeks in a row, because man, oh man, things are about to get absolutely wicked here in the Canadian eMotorsports Network and the NASCAR Series, powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue. And get some chicken while you're at it too. Get some Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue. Yeah.
Yes, obviously, if you're in the area, yes, Kyle's Fried Chicken, absolutely go for it.
Jordy, any final words before we wrap up this live production of the regular season finale before we get into it 2 weeks from today?
I'd love to have final words, but honestly, the time for talking's over. As cliche as that sounds, we're here now. We know our 12, and let the games begin.
Absolutely. Trying to be a little bit similar there to the Summer Olympics that will be getting underway in late July. Of course, let the games begin in 2 weeks. Again, an off week next week, right just after Canada Day weekend. But it is Tuesday, July 9th. Mark it on your calendars. The Rampage Coffee Co. 250 at the Lady in Black Darlington Raceway will play host to the beginning of the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs. Live coverage of all 7 playoff races here on our YouTube channel at the Canadian E-Motorsport Network. You will not want to miss any of the actions. So on behalf of Jordy Carrer, who's been here since the very beginning, the Canadian eMotorsports Network Competition Committee, sponsors, partners, drivers, staff, everybody involved within the network, my name is Regan McCauley from Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. We will see you all in 2 weeks' time to begin the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs for Season 5 of the NASCAR Series, powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue. So have a good night, speed safely, take care.